Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video. I'm RexFinance, and today we're going to be talking about the one and only stock that I believe is the most undervalued stock in the entire stock market, meaning the NASDAQ, the S&P, the Dow Jones, any and every single index that you can invest in. The one stock that I'm going to talk about today, I believe to be the most undervalued company in the entire world of public companies. And make sure you guys stick around to the end because there's a lot of juicy information that I have to go over today. And it all really proves my point, and I believe I can convince you guys that this company is severely undervalued. But first, can we just take one moment to appreciate this? I just passed $70,000 in my Robinhood stock market portfolio at the age of 19 years old. Now, I set a goal just when I started investing to hit 6 figures invested by the end of the year. And at that point in time, I thought that goal was out of this world and it was impossible. And just the reason I bring that up is because since I started investing at the beginning of the year, I'm up 464%. So the lesson should be learned. If you guys set goals and you think they're unrealistic, they're not. Anything can happen. I went from not believing that $100,000 invested at the age of 19 by the end of this calendar year was possible to now I would be disappointed if it didn't happen because we're on such a great path right now. And I really owe all of my success through my growth on YouTube because of you guys, and especially my members of Rex Nation, which I just launched last month, which is my paid monthly membership. So we've been kicking the market's butt this year. I know a lot of my members, all 200 of them, I know there are several in there that are also kicking butt along with me. So if that's something you guys would be interested in joining, hit the join button down below. It's right next to the subscribe button for more information on that. In addition to that, make sure you guys hit the like button if you find this video helpful or informative or even entertaining, because I think I'm a pretty entertaining guy myself. Let me know down in the comment section how many shares of Lordstown Motors or DiamondPeak Holdings, ticker symbol DPHC, you own or plan on buying after watching this video. So yeah, spoiler alert, this video is going to be about Lordstown Motors and DPHC, which is DiamondPeak Holdings, which is the SPAC play that is merging with Lordstown. So some of you out there may be wondering, who is Lordstown Motors? Why is this the most undervalued stock in the entire stock market, especially when SPACs are just going off recently? Well, the answer to your question is Lordstown Motors is bringing the first full-sized pickup electric vehicle to the market. They're going to beat Tesla, they're going to beat Rivian, and all other EV manufacturers out there to the market with an electric pickup. So you can pick up shares of this company right now, as I just mentioned, at the ticker symbol DPHC, but after the merger is complete, the ticker symbol is going to change to RIDE or RIDE. Every single share of DPHC that you buy today will turn into 1 share of RIDE after the merger is complete. So the Lordstown Endurance has amazing specs. If we scroll down on their webpage, we can see that the EV range, meaning how long you can last on one charge of the electric battery, you can last over 250 miles. In addition to that, this full-sized electric pickup can tow up to 7,500 pounds. On top of that, it has 600 peak horsepower. Now, the reason this is so exciting to me is not because of any of those reasons, which may surprise some of you guys, but it's really because of this true four-wheel drive. There are only 4 moving parts in the Lordstown Endurance pickup truck, and traditional vehicles have thousands of moving parts to them. So not only does that decrease maintenance costs, but it also means that each individual wheel has a motor. So these are called in-wheel hub motors. The front driver, the front passenger, the back driver, and the back passenger wheels each have its own individual motor. And these wheels and technology has been tested for over 1 million miles without any problems. Now, what that means is because each individual wheel has its own motor, each wheel has its own brain or mind, which means it's extremely hard to get this pickup truck stuck in mud or even to slide on ice, for example, because each individual wheel has a motor that can detect its traction control and all of these other things. On top of this, the Lordstown Endurance, which you can see behind me, can go from 0 miles per hour to 60 miles per hour in just over 5 seconds. That is ridiculous. Most full-size pickup trucks out there take up to 8 seconds to reach 60 miles per hour. And just a little fun fact for you guys, just so you know I put my money where my mouth is, I actually not only own shares of DPHC, but I actually pre-ordered one of these pickups. And I'm going to take delivery of it sometime around August of next year. So now let's kind of start to get into why I believe Lordstown Motors is severely undervalued right now. The first and major point is that Lordstown just announced that they have over $2 billion in revenue just sitting there waiting to be delivered on. Now I can already hear it. All these electric haters, all these startup company haters can be like,
well, they might have all those pre-orders, but a lot of them are going to cancel because it's only a $100 down payment to pre-order a vehicle.
But Lordstown Motors is different. It's not like Nikola. Lordstown has its own facility, and on top of that, their primary customer is not the average Joe like me. Their primary customer are fleets. And fleet customers are so much more unlikely to cancel on a pre-order than the average Joe like me is. Lots of these fleets that are pre-ordering this work truck are already budgeting for the cost of purchasing these vehicles and adding them to their fleet. And I just said, Lordstown actually has a facility, which is different from lots of EV manufacturers and startups out there. In fact, Lordstown has a beast of a production facility. They purchased a 6.2 million square foot facility from General Motors in Lordstown, Ohio. 6.2 million square feet is ridiculous. And on that point, a startup company like Lordstown wouldn't purchase that big of a production facility if they didn't truly believe in and anticipate their volume and production numbers to be through the roof. So now I'm on the Lordstown Motors Investor Relations presentation. And as we can see, the Lordstown Endurance is not only going to be the first work truck and full-size truck to market, but they're the only one that is entirely focused on fleet customers as well as being a full-size pickup. Now, the Tesla Cybertruck is a full-size pickup, but they're not focused on fleet customers. They're focused on consumers like me. In addition to that, the Lordstown Endurance is upwards of $20,000 cheaper than any of its competitors' prototypes. So say somebody wants to buy a Rivian, which is a mid-sized pickup. It will cost them around $67,500 to purchase that pickup truck. With the Lordstown Endurance, you can make this purchase for $45,000, and it's a full-size pickup truck. And as we can see by this presentation, Lordstown is projecting the launch to be in 2021, but so is Rivian and Tesla. However, Rivian and Tesla aren't projecting to deliver until the latter part of 2021. Lordstown is projecting on starting deliveries as soon as January of 2021 to fleet customers, and then about halfway through the year is when they would start delivering to customers like me. So they're going to beat all of the competition, whether it's a full-size truck, whether it's focused on fleet customers or regular consumers. They're going to beat all of their competitors to market by over 6 months. 6 months is a lot of time in an industry without any competition. And I believe there's going to be so many more people that order this Lordstown Endurance just for the simple fact that Lordstown is the first mover in the space. So now let's talk about the stock in particular, which is currently DiamondPeak Holdings, but like I mentioned, will be turning into Lordstown Motors by the end of the year. The current stock price is $25.20, and as you can see, as soon as the announcement was made that Lordstown was going public via a SPAC, I bought shares of the SPAC company or the blank check company. I bought 1,000 shares right away at $11.45, and I've already seen over 120% return on those shares, which is ridiculous considering I just bought these shares a couple of months ago. But what I really want to pay attention to is this market cap number down here, 173 million. That means that the entire Lordstown Motors company is valued at $173 million. Somebody with $173 million could go to Lordstown and say, I am buying all of your shares and I'm going to own you. That is ridiculous for many, many reasons, and I'm going to start to get into that now. I already mentioned that Lordstown just passed $2 billion in pre-orders from primarily fleet customers who more than likely won't cancel on their orders. I truly believe that 95% of those pre-orders are going to be delivered and fulfilled. So on top of the $2 billion in pre-orders, the facility that Lordstown owns, the 6.2 million square foot facility that I've been talking about, was valued at $3 billion. They bought this facility from General Motors for $20 million. Talk about a deal. So you have $2 billion in pre-orders, and then you own a facility valued at $3 billion. That in itself should put the market cap way over those two numbers added together, which would be $5 billion. And we're sitting at $173 million of market cap. You've got to be kidding me. This company is so undervalued when you consider that stuff. So in addition to that, most growth companies, which is what Lordstown is, are priced 5 years down the road, meaning their market caps value all of the growth for 5 years in the future. So now let's get into the key relationships and customers. I've talked a lot about General Motors this video so far, and as we can see, they're one of Lordstown's key strategic relationships. In addition to General Motors, there's Goodyear, Elaife Propulsion, which creates and manufactures those in-hub wheel motors that I talked about, Holman Enterprises, Workhorse, which I own 1,500 shares of, and Samsung. And on this same exact slide, we can see the different types of customers that are attracted to the Lordstown Endurance. Like I already said, they're not going after the consumer like me. They're going after fleet customers like Clean Fuels Ohio, Duke Energy, First Energy, GridX, ServPro, Summit Petroleum, Turner Mining. And just recently, they were showing off their truck to Southern California Edison. Now, these customers are actually companies. And like I said, these companies have to budget for their orders. And $2 billion of pre-orders, at least 95% of those are going to be fulfilled like I mentioned previously. In addition to this, and I'm going to put this up on the screen, GM is actually one of the principal stakeholders of Lordstown Motors. And on top of this, I'm sure many of you guys are aware of the recent investment they took with Nikola Motors. And right now, Nikola looks horrible because of all the fraud accusations that are being thrown against them. GM, I'm sure, doesn't like this publicity. This is very negative publicity for GM after just making this investment into an electric vehicle company. But what a lot of people don't realize is GM is already heavily invested in Lordstown through that facility, and they even loaned Lordstown like $40 million to retool that facility for Lordstown's purposes. Now this next part is just going to be my speculation, what I think could happen, but I think GM could throw away their investment with Nikola because who wants that bad publicity right now? Who wants to be affiliated with a company that is potentially full of fraud? And legally right now, GM could sell out of 66% of their stake in Nikola immediately. And what I think they're going to do is they're going to sell out of that stake as soon as they can, and then they're going to look for other EV ventures to put their money into. And they already have money in Lordstown and very, very key relationship with Lordstown. So why would they not? On top of these reasons, I'm sure GM wants to be connected to the first mover in the electric vehicle pickup space rather than a company full of fraud. In addition to this, if we look at the legal paperwork of Lordstown Motors, we can see that GM is going to nominate one of Lordstown's board of directors members. And this normally doesn't happen unless a key investor is really expecting their relationship with the company to grow dramatically over time. And like I already showed you, GM is already invested in Lordstown, and they are going to be able to appoint a director to the board of directors for Lordstown Motors. In addition to this, for those of you that are not aware, GM partnered with LG Chem to produce a battery manufacturing facility right next door to the Lordstown facility. This battery plant that they're building cost them $2.3 billion. Why would they put this $2.3 billion battery plant right next door to Lordstown? I'll let you guys connect the dots there because I don't think it's very hard to see what's going on. In addition to all of this stuff, I am very, very fond of the experience that the executive team has that is running Lordstown Motors. For example, Rich Smith, the chief production officer, I'll highlight his name right here, was the previous director of manufacturing operations at Tesla. In addition to this, the other members of the executive team have passed with GM, Boeing, Kia, Harley-Davidson, and lots of vehicle manufacturers around the world. So in closing, the stock price of DiamondPeak Holdings, which is going to be Lordstown Motors after the merger is complete, is valuing Lordstown at $173 million. That is severely undervalued when you consider that the $2 billion in pre-orders that the Lordstown Endurance already has is more than likely going to be fulfilled on top of the fact that Lordstown owns a facility valued at $3 billion. Those two numbers together already give Lordstown a value of $5 billion in my opinion. Right now, I think Lordstown Motors or DiamondPeak Holdings should be valuing Lordstown at $10 billion of market cap. And that may be conservative considering all these other growth companies out there are priced in for the next 5 years. Like I just mentioned, Lordstown Motors has vast experience on their management team, such as experience from Tesla themselves, the very first mover in the entire electric vehicle industry. On top of that, the Lordstown Endurance is going to be the very first electric pickup truck in the world that is delivered. So that effectively makes Lordstown Motors the first mover in the entire electric vehicle pickup truck market. That will allow Lordstown to build key relationships with key customers and really see their orders continue, not only for the Lordstown Endurance, but the future models of vehicles that Lordstown is aiming to produce over the coming years. So with that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Again, comment down below how many shares of DPHC or Lordstown you own, or how many shares you plan on buying after watching this video. Leave a like down below if you guys enjoyed this video. And with that, guys, have a great weekend. I'll be back on Monday with a brand new video. Hit the like button if you guys enjoyed. Peace out.